All right, what's going on, everyone? Justin again, as always. Thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. So this is by subscriber request. They wanted me to do a top 10 MATCO tool list, put it together in a video, and discuss some of my likes, dislikes, etc. So that's what we're getting ready to do. This is in no particular order. Just going to go ahead and start firing it off, right? So one, their toolboxes and service carts. Now, I did have the Jamestown for a while. You guys know I ran out of that thing for a good minute. Loved that cart. That was a really awesome service car. I loved everything about it. Probably would have still had it, but decided to move away from that, right? We went into a bigger box, so put that towards the old trade-in stuff, I think, if I remember correctly. But I went with the MATCO 4S. It does sit up a little bit higher than some of the other ones. That's because of how this hutch was designed. The older ones did sit down a little bit lower. Now I'm 6'1", so yes, I still have to duck, but if I'm sitting on a stool, this thing is like perfect height. I like all the charging stations, how they have them set up with the strip. It's a nice wide drawer. There's not a whole bunch of skinny drawers. There's a couple of nice thick drawers to put other blow molded cases and things in. And I have found them to be the toughest toolboxes on the market, even if you compared them to Snap-on. They did a video a long while back comparing a Snap-on toolbox to a MATCO toolbox under a drop test of a crane, and the MATCO one maintained its integrity all throughout. So for that, I got to give them a huge thumbs up and kudos to that on their box. This one's kind of a love-hate. I love the handle style that they took, that hourglass fits in your palm really nicely handle on the Ratchets, and I like how thin the head design is, and I love the locking mechanism style that they use for their Ratchets. The only thing that I don't really care for all that much is how often the teeth slip and how you have to change the gear out every so often. I couldn't even begin to tell you how often, because you could end up having that ratchet last you a year and a half, which I've had before a tooth slip, and I've had it last a month where it slipped and I had to exchange it out, and then I've had it last about a year and then it would slip and I'd have to change it out. It's not a big deal as long as you always have a MATCO tool guy coming to and from your shop that can change that out for you. But if you don't have a MATCO guy coming to that particular shop, and I know that some of these tool trucks don't go to certain shops, that can be frustrating trying to figure that out, or trying to mail it in, or get a hold of them or whatever. So for that, not the best ratchet in the world, but certainly not the worst. Has more features to like about it than dislike, that's for sure. And I know that you can order the gear kits online, so if you don't mind waiting and you have a backup ratchet from like Husky or Harbor Freight or something like that, you should be fine. And I think you're gonna find you enjoy those ratchets more than the other ones as well. 3, the air tools. Got to give it up to their air tools. I've had a multitude of their air tools in the past. These are the ones that stood out to me the most. The air hammer, most powerful, even compared to a Snap-on, blows the Snap-on completely out of their water. The drill, variable speed, you can go high, slow, etc. That drill is an amazing drill, and if I wish I kind of still had it today, to be honest, but that drill was very awesome. And I've had their 1/2 inch and 3/8 impacts, which are very, very powerful, and they do get into some tight spots as well. So definitely, if you're looking at pneumatic tools, I would go pretty much all the way with MATCO on this one for the most part. And that's not saying that you couldn't get away with a lot of other ones. We know there's AirCAD and a handful of others that people like. I get it. But you're asking me about MATCO, so we're going to talk about the MATCO ones. 4. They're ratchet wrenches. So they're ratchet wrenches with the open end. If it's a combination style, the open end is very strong. It doesn't splay open like a lot of the other ones do, or have a tendency of doing. The ratcheting wrench part seems to hold up pretty well. I haven't had any issues with the flex head style. However, the double box end ratchet wrenches that I used to have, that had the ratcheting mechanism on both ends in different sizes, from time to time would seize up, and you'd have to put it on a fastener and force it kind of back the other direction before it would start working again. So kind of a love-hate on that one as well. But overall, I do like their ratchet wrenches for that one exception, right? See, there's little tiny things here that's a love-hate. 5, The 1/4-inch torque bit set that I still have, that I told you guys about, that does come in handy and very beneficial. I think VIM is the only other one I know that makes a 1/4-inch set up to a certain size. Yes, these are beneficial. Yes, there's some tight spaces to get into that you're going to wish that you had these. And no, I couldn't tell you any one particular example, just European specifically. There were areas that you're going to want a very low profile 1/4-inch, not 3/8. 3/8 is too big. All right, the next one we are going to cover is 6, the Torx and screwdrivers. So I did like their Torx drivers. I think they were the Torx 2 or something like that. Those work out great for interior things as well as like tail lights and things like that. And interior, you know, there's a lot of Torx bits on certain cars, and when there's not, there's, you know, Phillips screws and stuff like that. For that, I like the MATCO screwdrivers and their Torx drivers. Now, they don't have the teeth like the snap-on ones do. However, they're stubbier. The screwdriver doesn't have this big old fat bottom to it. It's a nice thin, low profile, gets into tight spots with your hand. So I do like their screwdrivers and Torx drivers. 7, the air hammer adapters, super, super strong. I've used other brands like the Harbor Freight ones. They almost kind of like disintegrate and the metal just kind of folds back. I've used even some Cornwell ones, and they don't really hold up all that well. I didn't use any snap-on ones, but I do know that the MATCO ones that I've had, I've been using and abusing for nearly a decade, and those things are still getting it. So for that, I got to give it up to their adapters when it comes to things with the air hammer, right? So the only one I think that wore out the most on me was maybe their punch. The pointed punch kind of wears out over time, but you can warranty that one out. But as far as like the chisel, the tie rod separator, the hammer itself, and even the blade that cuts, those ones hold up very, very well. 8, swag options. So you guys know, if you've seen any kind of a catalog, be it Snap-on, Cornwell, MATCO, Gear Wrench, the swag catalog is on point when it comes to MATCO tools. They have like squirt guns that look like 1/2-inch impacts. Their sweatshirts and t-shirts are always in style. Sunglasses and barbecue options and this and that. And they just have so many clocks and cars and just a bunch of fun things that are humorous that a lot of mechanics do like. So gotta give it for the swag options. All right, 9, and this is probably one of the more important ones. Took their fans' suggestions, especially when it comes to color options and what they'd like to see MATCO do by design, into consideration. So if you guys remember a while back, Clay from Coon Trucking, he started kind of talking with MATCO hand in hand about different color options that people would like the blue and black and purple and black. And he really got them to kind of listen to their fans when it came to choosing different color options for not only their ratchets, but I think it even moved into some of their pry bars and stuff too. So for that, I like the fact that MATCO is listening to their viewership and what the people want. So huge 2 thumbs up to MATCO for that. I think that's critical and very important, especially with your consumer base. And then 10, I like the airlift and coolant pressure tester that they had. I had the airlift of theirs. I don't have it anymore, but I did like that style above all the other ones. It held up great. I know I had a lot of MATCO pressure gauges themselves that worked out very well and lasted a long time and were very accurate. Whereas I've had others that were not so accurate, and sometimes I had to go and borrow somebody else's to compare, just because I wasn't really sure if whether or not I was getting what I was getting. So for that, I would say not just the airlift, but pressure testers in general. I don't know who they have that does it for them, but yeah, 2 thumbs up on that. And that would be my top 10 MATCO tools. If you guys think that I'm incorrect, or if you disagree with something that I put down there, or you found that something didn't work out the best for you out of the things that I did list, or why you would pick a different brand over this one in particular, and let's talk prosumer brand, okay? And that means like MATCO, Cornwell, Mac, Snap-on. I think that's more of a fair judgment / comparison, not so much like what we can get through Amazon or online or, you know, over at a big box store. We know that those are some incredible deals and you can save buku dollars. But if you're solely focused on tool truck brand specific and which tools that you would like to get. Let's talk about that. Let's hear some feedback from you of things that you do enjoy from MATCO and the things that you do not enjoy from MATCO and your reasons why. And if they ever do decide to watch this video, maybe they can fix some of these issues that we've seen with some of their products, like I mentioned with the gears in the ratchet, or the gears in the ratchet wrenches and things like that. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. You guys let me know, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers and deuces.